another beautiful time on Health Watch, reaching you on your number one station, NT Lagos Channel 10, the station for excellence. Today we're talking about a topic that affects everyone, both young and old, but children, women and men. And it's an interesting topic because for us in Lagos, we know how it is, all the hustle and bustle in Lagos. It's a highly commercialized city. People go out very early as 4 a.m. and they come back up till 12, 11 a.m., 12, depending on where you stay because of the heavy traffic. And the concern would be, how do you catch sleep? As in, how do you get to sleep? How do you rest? Because it's one thing for you to get home on time, it's another thing for you to sleep at least, and then in the morning again you are up. Our topic today is on the importance of sleep and self-care. And my guest today is a lifestyle consultant, and she has a whole lot to say. But again, let's go on the streets. Let's find out from people on the streets, how many hours do you sleep per day and why? All right. My name is Nkem or Kibe. You know I love to do this with you every week. We go on this Vox Pop, and when we return, you will meet my guest. Don't go anywhere. Health Watch continues in a moment. Stay with us.
About 4 hours, because I don't like sleeping at night like that. So I just stay up to like 4, then I sleep by 5.
Before, like normally, this my hustle. The way before I used to be sleeping like 2 times a day, but now the country is just dey hard now. I cannot even sleep at all. Every time I used to be working, no rest, nothing, because the country now has strong already now.
Although me, I don't like to sleep. Even night, I don't like to sleep. Even when I get to bed, when I get to bed to my children, I don't like to sleep. Sometimes they will say that if you have child, you're supposed to sleep when the child is sleeping. But I told them that I don't like to sleep.
Just 6 to 8 hours. And because of the kind of job that I'm into, the kind of work that I do, maybe I will wake up early and I'll come back late.
6 or 5. It depends on the type of situation I'm in. Maybe I'm tired, so I can just be very, very tired because I go out and come back in the night.
You're welcome back. The program is Health Watch, and today our focus is on the importance of sleep and self-care. My guest today is Dr. Makinde Oore. She is a consultant in family medicine and a lifestyle medicine physician. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
Okay, talking about sleep, the intro I had at the beginning of the program, I mentioned that in Lagos, it's a norm in Lagos for people to go out very early and come back very late, and you won't believe it. Some people might have to eat eba, their heavy food before they go to bed. So I don't know how many hours sleep they get before for the morning time, But the question is, what's the importance of sleep?
Sleep is as important as the air that we breathe, as the food that we eat, and the water that we drink. I love to tell people about sleep. So many of us consider sleep as being a waste of time, being unnecessary. I have so much to do, I have to catch up. And so that's why you find out that people wake up very early to go to their places of work, and then they come back very late. So they have a very little time, to catch up with sleep. But people need to understand that they need to pay more attention, to their sleep. And the reason is because when we sleep, our body repairs itself. It's just like wheeling in your vehicle into the mechanic workshop, to say, okay, this vehicle needs to be, checked, even though there's nothing really wrong, but that check that you do from time to time. So in the same way, when we sleep at night, after being all over the place throughout the day, your body repairs itself. Your DNA naturally repairs itself. And there are certain functions that take place in the brain, in other organs, like our kidneys, our liver, even our bowel, in our heart. So whenever we don't sleep well, it's going to affect those organs. Now, let's talk about the brain, for example. We have studies now that show that when we are deprived of sleep, that we are more likely to develop dementia, you know, earlier in life. So we are seeing people developing dementia at age 60 now. Even people at age 50, they are developing dementia. And so there was this comparative study, longitudinal study that was done, and it was discovered that the people that slept longer hours, between 7 and 9 hours, they were less likely to have dementia as compared to people who slept less than 6 hours, you know, habitually. So we're not talking about an occasional thing, but something that becomes habitual and consistent, and people just feel that this is me. I can't afford to sleep more than 4 hours. So when we sleep, our, our cells repair themselves. And then aside from that, very importantly, because we've discovered that when people are acutely sleep deprived, they're more likely to lose, you know, their moral judgment. So they make wrong decisions. And they take decisions on behalf of other people, and that can impair, you know, a lot of what is going on around them. For example, now, there was a pilot who was investigated. You know, they tried to investigate the cause of a plane crash, and they discovered that the pilot was fatigued. So maybe the decision he made at that time about landing the plane was not the right decision, and eventually resulted in a plane crash. Let's bring it home, even to our roots. We find out that some people have accidents from time to time. People are dozing off at the steering, and so there are accidents. All those things can be prevented if those individuals who are at the steering had a good night's rest or a refreshing sleep. And so they'll be able to make the right decisions. They will avoid accidents. Somebody was dozing off and was typing in the amount of money that was to be transferred from a bank to another bank, and added more zeros because she was tired and drowsy. Typed in more zeros. Unfortunately, they were able to retrieve the money. She actually pressed the send button. So there are so many things that can go wrong when we don't sleep enough. So that's memory. If you are going for an exam and you decide to do till daybreak, we used to do that in school. you walk, you read till daybreak. You can get into the exam and have a brain block, because your brain is supposed to consolidate short-term memory into long-term memory. So if you read something within a short period of time, for you to be able to remember that thing, you're supposed to actually sleep so that your body can get enough of what we call the REM sleep and non-REM sleep and the deep stages of sleep. Those are the things that will make the person remember what he has read.
Very interesting. Thank you. You actually even touched what will happen if you are deprived of sleep. But you mentioned just now the stages of sleep. Can you just briefly tell us about the stages of sleep?
Okay, so we have two major types of sleep. So we have the REM sleep, we have the non-REM sleep. So all these stages of sleep, they have their own functions. You know, you might find yourself being able to wake up quickly from a certain stage of sleep. That will be in the stage of light sleep. So most of the time, our sleep will start with the non-REM, you know, and then we now go into the REM sleep, and then so we cycle in between the REM sleep and non-REM sleep during the course of the night. So all of them have their important functions. So we need to take our sleep seriously. Even the light stages of sleep are important. But if you have not had enough of your deep sleep and you are woken up from that deep sleep, you feel very groggy, you feel tired, you feel as if your sleep was not refreshed or not refreshing. But if you wake up in the light stage of sleep, you find out that as you have circled out of that deep stage of sleep to the light stage of sleep, and you wake up at that time, you will feel more alive,
Okay.
you know, and ready to face your day.
What would you say is the reason why some people cannot catch sleep? Like, oh, let me use the right word. They can't fall asleep. Do you understand? Like the person is tired, you are stressed out. So the first thing that comes to anybody's mind is go and sleep. And so it even happens to children. Sometimes you tell go and sleep. They're trying to make you happy. So you just call them. Next thing 1 hour, this child is still there. And the child is telling you, but I'm trying to sleep, but it's not coming. Do you understand?
Yes,
And
I
then it happens
totally
to adults
understand.
when adults are stressed out.
It
Then you
happens to
get
all
to,
of us.
you know,
Yes.
what
So
could be the
the
reason?
reason is because we're not supposed to go to bed stressed. Stress is one of the things that will prevent you from falling asleep readily. So we expect every individual who is going to lie down to sleep within a certain period of time, usually within 15 to 20 minutes. We expect you to sleep. We don't expect you to just land on the bed and fall asleep. In fact, if you go on your bed and you sleep within 5 minutes, that means that person is sleep deprived. Yes. So your body is supposed to wind down, and it is recommended that you wind down over a period of 30 minutes to 1 hour before bedtime. So we don't want to go through the hula baloo of Lagos life and then you just come and lie on the bed and just sleep. If you sleep, that will be a sleep of exhaustion, and you are going to wake up soon after that because you did not really prepare your body to sleep.
Okay.
So we're supposed to wind down from activities, things that are mentally engaging, things that are distressing. You know, some people, it's just before bedtime at 10 o'clock, they want to watch the 10 o'clock news. So you go and you start watching the news and you hear of all sorts of things that could actually be distressing. Especially if you want to go to other international news channels and you'll be wondering what's going on around me, why is this happening here and there, one distress and all of that. All of that sends messages to your brain and creates a sense of alertness. And all these devices that we watch, the TV, our iPad, computers, our phones, they are devices that send messages to you to keep alert. And so you find out that at that time you'll not be able to sleep because it interferes with the production of the sleep hormone, which is supposed to be heightened at that time. But once you're exposed to those lights, your sleepiness reduces. And so you find out that you can stay awake for longer. But by the time your lights go out, your devices go down, it sends a message to the brain to say, produce more of this sleep hormone. And so you begin to feel sleepy when everywhere is quiet, dark, because the way the body has been designed is for us to sleep when it is night
Okay.
and to be awake when it is daytime. So the daytime light is supposed to trigger your alertness. But we are now bringing what is supposed to be in the day to the nighttime. And so that pushes back what we call the biological clock on our inside. And so you find out you won't be able to sleep as easily. But by the time you now begin to work on what to do before bedtime, especially within the 4 hours just before bedtime. For example, meals. You talked about people coming home to eat eba at 11 o'clock. Okay, let's not even say 11 o'clock, even 9 o'clock. That can interfere with sleep, can impair the quality of our sleep. So recommendations are that your last meal should be at least 3 to 4 hours, before bedtime. But how many people can do that?
Okay, that leads us to how do we cultivate good sleeping habits? Because, okay, I'm in your office and I'm probably going to be here till 5. You get home by 9 or you get home by 8. Do you
Well,
have
that
one
doesn't
hour?
happen every day.
Okay. So how do we cultivate good sleeping habit? Because Lagos is just peculiar. Lagos is peculiar. It's exceptional. There's nothing anyone can do about it. You just see that you want to beat traffic. You want to always beat traffic. So most times you end up even on the stairs. Sometimes you feel sleepy. It happens to almost everybody that drives. So what happens? What should we be doing when such is happening all the time, and you don't actually have that time to catch that sleep?
So the thing is that many of us, when we get home, we take our walk home. Yes, the reason why we take our walk home is that when we go home, we start thinking about all the things that went on at work. We start doing many other things. I know some people are guilty here. So we start doing things that we should have left in the office. So that keeps your mind awake.
Okay.
So what we have found out is that when you even want to sleep, you won't be able to sleep because your mind is active. But if you want to enjoy a refreshing night's sleep, wind down, kind of tidy up everything that has happened at work at least 90 minutes before bedtime. So, and then make sure you have had your meal, like I said, much earlier, maybe like 3 hours before. Maybe you eat before leaving the office, if that is an issue. And then have a fixed time for going to bed. Let's go to bed at about the same time every night. Your body will get used to that. And the secretions from your pineal gland and all the other hormones are supposed to work together to make you sleep. They would harmonize, and you're more likely to fall asleep at the set bedtime. But if you go to bed 8 o'clock today, another day 11, another day 3 a.m., it's going to cause a disorder in what we call the circadian rhythm. That is more or less like your biological clock. So you find out that the times when you want to sleep, at maybe even 11, you might not even just sleep. So it's important to have a set bedtime, carry out relaxation activities. You can listen to cool music, you can spend some time meditating, you can spend some time in prayer, you can have a warm bath, things that will cool your body's core temperature. It's not the time to be calling people who are in a different time zone abroad. Oh, let me catch up. All those things, they keep your mind alert. And don't listen to distressing news too at that time. Avoid news tabs. The news will be there the following morning.
So from what you just said now, going by what is happening in Nigeria, we don't need to state the obvious, but this program was supposed to provide solution to people. And what would you say is, what would I call it, strategy now? Because everybody is worked up, everybody is stressed, the economy is biting so hard. How would they find time to catch enough sleep? So we'll go on a short break now. When we return, Health Watch continues. If you're just joining us, the program is Health Watch, and our focus today is on sleep. My guest is still in the house, Dr. Makinde Oore, and she is a consultant in family medicine and a lifestyle medicine physician. Okay, before we went on the break, I talked about the situation we find ourselves in the country right now,
Yes.
and everybody knows what's happening. So, how do you get enough sleep? If everybody's now increasing their hustle, doubling their, what will I call it now, doubling their game, trying to make ends meet, how do you now catch enough sleep?
Yes, so the first thing really is our mindset. Somehow, some way, right now, some people are still having parties, they're still throwing parties, even in the midst of this situation. We are still ensuring that we eat. Somehow, some way, we will make sure we eat because we know the importance of that food. And there's something that is calling our attention to the fact that we need to eat, the hunger, right? But it's not all the time that we realize that there's a connect between our ill health and the fact that we're not sleeping. So one of the things I didn't say in the beginning was that when we don't sleep well, we are more at risk of high blood pressure. We are more at risk of high blood sugar, what we call type 2 diabetes. We are more at risk of heart disease. In fact, people who sleep shorter hours, less than 5 hours habitually, they have been shown to be more likely to have a heart attack and to die prematurely. So when people have sleep deprivation, and they don't usually link it to some of the symptoms they're having. People have headaches, people have chest pain, palpitations, burning sensation all over the body, memory lapses, inability to focus or concentrate. When people have those things, they don't entirely think about the fact, oh, maybe it's because I'm not sleeping. They think about other things. So, but one of the things that I believe that this station is trying to do is to create awareness, to educate the public. So when they have the awareness, they will make it priority. So it didn't seem to matter before. Because they listen to this show, it matters. And so they will say, okay, how can I sleep better? Since I know it's going to help my health and my well-being. Now, that's the first step. Then the second step is to consider those things that are happening in the economy. Are they going to be forever? They won't last forever. Changes keep on coming. Even when we say an economy goes into recession, studies have shown that it will come back up. It will bounce back. So we should live with that hope in view that things will change. It won't always be like this. So I will do the best I can. God will help me and things will get better. So when we live with that optimistic viewpoint, it helps. And you're able to go to bed, faster. Rather than laying awake at night and complaining and thinking about the distress and everything that is not going on so well. Let's focus on what has gone well. Focus on the things that make you happy. What are the values that you have? Your family, engaging with them, connecting with them. Sometimes it's not about how much money you have in that space of time, or how much you're connected with the people that matter, in your life. And of course, reliance on God, because He's our source. So if we want to do everything in our own power, in our own strength, it's going to fail us at the end of the day, and we become depressed. But when we realize that God is our source and we're depending on Him, then we discover that we can keep going. The last thing, that I would say is, if you're not sleeping well, see your physician, see your doctor, because sometimes there is an underlying health condition. Sometimes it's psychiatric conditions that lead to people not sleeping well. Sometimes it might be an issue that has to do with menopause, things that have to do with care of your children or a loved one or someone that is sick. And so there are so many other issues that are, underlying that sleep deprivation or not being able to sleep, when you really want to.
What kind of nutrition will help improve the quality of sleep we'll get? Because if you're used to eating swallow all the time, if you're used to eating very late, if you're used to eating, I don't know, you are professional, what do you think? What's your take on
Yes.
that?
So the recommendations that I have are evidence-based, based on studies. So studies have shown that if you have a, a dinner, that is high in fiber, then you're likely to have a more refreshing sleep and less interruptions, in your sleep. But when you take a very high carbohydrate meal, you are likely to get up several times at night to use the bathroom. And once you do that, to return to sleep will take a longer time. So it's important to include vegetables in our diet, protein. It could be fish, it could be some chicken, some vegetable. All of that has been shown to help. Then studies also show that nuts like almonds, some cashew nuts. I'm not talking about a whole bottle now. You sit down with a full bottle of cashew nuts and you see, because you want to sleep. Just a handful. There are some other things, some other fruits also that have been shown to just contain little amounts of melatonin. So it's good to make it a habit to take at least 2 to 3 portions of fruit on a daily basis. So studies have shown that if you have enough servings of fruit on a daily basis, you'll wake up feeling more energetic and you feel more refreshed rather than waking up on the wrong side of wrong side of the bed, complaining and all.
Okay. So, Dr. Oore, what's the reason why people talk and still sleepwalk in this age? And I say that because while growing up, I saw a lot of that, and I felt it was like more amongst children. But now I've also seen that adults do that. So
Yeah.
while I was in school writing my exams, so the person is in deep sleep. Well, I think what they read, but you see them talking, and they can just start a conversation and just turn to the other side of the bed and sleep off. And then in the morning, the person cannot even remember such happened. And then sometimes you see them walk. They're walking to the door, and you're like, it's not yet 4 a.m. Where are you going to?
Mm.
They're getting ready for the next paper. So
Yes. So it's a parasomnia. We talk about insomnia, which is difficulty in sleeping even when there's opportunity to sleep. But parasomnia means that it occurs during um, during sleep.
Okay.
So it's a sleep disorder
Okay.
that needs to be evaluated. Now, if that person is able to practice sleep hygiene, it can actually reduce the severity. And some people might outgrow it over time with improved sleep hygiene. But if that is persistent, the person should be evaluated.
1 minute. What's your advice to negotiators? And I know that this topic is relevant to everyone in Nigeria, but for Lagos is, I'll say it again, it's peculiar. So, what's your advice to them?
So my general advice to Lagosians is that they shouldn't look for sleeping pills to fall asleep, buying over-the-counter medication to fall asleep, We just need to make little tweaks in our lifestyle. Sometimes you might just need to lose a bit of weight. Sometimes is to stop drinking some substances, especially alcohol. Alcohol has also been shown, to interfere with sleep. Substances can also interfere with sleep. And I want Lagosians to remember that when we sleep, our brain clears out bacteria and viruses, and that would improve the immune system and improve the overall well-being. So when they remember these two important things, that you don't need a pill to fall asleep, and that when you're able to sleep, have a refreshing sleep, you actually improve your immune system, it will keep on sending those messages to them every day. It will be a reminder that my sleep is very important for me.
Thank you so much for coming on Health Watch today. One of the things that we've done today is to render free service to everyone watching. And that's why we're NCA, that's why Health Watch is here, to create awareness on topics like this. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
And that's the much we can take on this week's edition of Health Watch. You agree with me? What we have done today, we have brought free service on Health Watch, because when I mentioned the topic, of course, you watching me, you're thinking, oh, sleep. What is their sleep? But you've seen a whole lot of things was said then by Dr. Oore. And I want to thank you for being part of the program, because you have a lot to take home with. Whatever it is happening in Nigeria now, try and remain optimistic. Try and sleep, oh, because of course you know that a lot of things was mentioned today on the importance of sleep. You have questions, you have comments, you have inquiries, please send a text only to 07060865487, or send a mail to kibenkem@gmail.com. You know I usually say, health conscious people live longer. My name is Nkem Okibe. See you next week. Bye.